good Thursday to you. We've some terrific stories for you today on Ag AM in Kansas. Here's what's coming up.
Today, Brian Holman is in Johnson County talking with Ted about his family farm and how it came to be established in 1945. Learn about the impact its Johnson County location has played on the continued growth of the farm. Then in our Horsing Around segment, Dr. Chris Blevins and Dr. Lori Beard, an internal medicine specialist at K-State, talk about the issues to consider when feeding hay to your horses. Stay tuned for all this and more after the break.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress, powered by Kansas farmers. Agribusiness, brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Ted, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Hey, we're in Johnson County at your family's operations here. Give us a little history of it.
Well, my grandpa started farming when he came back from the World War II, and he bought 80 acres just east of Bucyrus here, and his boys started farming with him, and eventually they went out on their own as they got out of high school, and my dad farmed with his 3 brothers. And eventually, over the years, he kind of just bought one out, one by one. And he bought the last brother out, I think, in 2000. And they kind of still farm a little bit on their own. And one flies for UPS. The other one sold Snap-on tools for several years. And Uncle Danny, he's been part of the ethanol plant down at getting it going down at Garnett. He's on the board down there, and he still farms on his own a little bit. And then I myself and my 3 brothers farm with my dad now, and so that's pretty much how it's been going over the last, ever since 1945, I guess. My grandpa came back from the war. So, you know, we got the next generation's coming now. My oldest son, Hayden's in high school, and you know, I'm not sure what they're all going to want to do, but there'll be more of them coming up the ladder, I guess. So,
how does your location play into the growth of the farm? Because I think if most people think of Johnson County, they don't think of farmland. I think they probably think of more big box stores and shopping.
Yeah, it is tough to expand here. You know, we live right on the county line here. Going north, there is farm ground up there, not a lot, but since the recession, the city kind of stopped moving out. I mean, we thought, you know, maybe 5 years ago, it might be impossible to keep farming here. And but since the recession, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, things have really stopped as far as construction, development, and prices have come down a little bit on the farmland. I don't know if you can really consider it farmland right here, but yeah, it's a concern, especially, you know, we deal with, you know, a lot of people in Johnson County are not real familiar with farming, and so there's issues there as far as, you know, we kind of got to watch when we're spraying, and moving the equipment around is always an issue with the traffic and stuff. But you know, we're going to be farming here a while, I think. Yeah, I hope.
Right. Ted, ethanol production here in this part of the state, having a plant so close, did that really make it easy for you guys to want to farm corn?
Well, we had always been raising a lot of corn. You know, the ethanol plant has really helped the market. Of course, it's helped all the ethanol plants in the country have helped the corn market, but we still take a lot of our corn to Kansas City. We're raising a lot of waxy corn, and we still do raise some conventional corn, but you know, the ethanol plant's about 50 miles away. The Kansas City elevators are about 30, 35 miles away. So as you know, as high as fuel is, right, hauling the grain, that, you know, you wouldn't think 15 miles make that much difference, but we can get to Kansas City quicker than we can get to the ethanol plant. We do take some corn to the ethanol plant, but most of it goes to Kansas City.
Ted, I'm going to keep you around. We're going to go to commercial break if that's all right.
Fine.
You're watching Ag AM in Kansas, and we'll see you in just a minute.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Now another gardening tip with Annette Jackson.
For the greenest, healthiest, weed-free lawn in your neighborhood, the Fertilome Lawn Care program is the best. Fertilome Lawn Care products provide your lawn with the exact ingredients for proper fertilization and weed prevention. Jackson's friendly staff will call you and let you know when to apply the next step. We can also do it for you, so call or stop in now.
The Fertilome Lawn Care program is still available at last year's prices, but hurry, time is limited.
Roy Fry Western Lifestyles brings the cowboy or cowgirl out in all of us. With a huge selection of must-have items, it doesn't matter if you're shopping for your horse, picking up some Western accessories to add that rustic charm to your home, or simply treating yourself. The knowledge and expertise to dress you your Western best is right here at Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, Highway 24 and Kansas Avenue in Topeka.
Agribusiness, brought to you by Briggs Dodge Business Link. We keep your business rolling.
Welcome back to the show. We're in Johnson County with Ted Gatterman, and we're visiting about his family farm. And you said something earlier, and I think some consumers or people who watch the show in the morning who aren't farmers don't really know, what is a waxy corn? You said that earlier.
Well, waxy corn has a different kind of starch than the corn that you'd raise for livestock use or ethanol plants. It can be fed to livestock or taken to the ethanol plant, but this particular corn, waxy corn, has a different kind of starch in it. I think it's higher in starch, but they process it there in Kansas City at National Starch is the name of the company that does it, and that starch is used to make a lot of different things. I didn't realize how many different things they make out of the waxy corn, but glues are made out of waxy corn, food products, glues for adhesives, for wood products, a lot of different things. There's thousands of things they use that starch for. But
we don't use it for human consumption. I mean, that corn doesn't go towards what you and I, or it does, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, I'm sorry.
A lot of the starch that I think is used like in baby food, products like that.
But this isn't corn that we would eat off the cob.
No, it's got to be processed, and you know, that's what, and you know, a lot of different things. Like I say, glues, adhesives, starch for baby food. You know, they even like toilet paper. The adhesive that bonds the different layers on toilet paper, that comes from corn, waxy corn. So I mean, there's just a lot of different things. People don't think of it, but I think almost everything, not everything, but a lot of things we touch every day and eat every day, we don't realize that there's corn in those products. And you know, that they are, you know, so. But that's, it's a good market for us there in Kansas City. Like I say, that the ethanol, though, has driven the price of the corn up tremendously. So, but still, the waxy corn, the National Starch plant is a lot closer than the ethanol plant. So that's one of the reasons why we still grow it.
So, I mean, it's pure economics. I mean, 12 miles less, and what people probably don't understand is when you're carrying a ton or so of corn, 12 miles adds up quickly.
Yes, yeah, well, I mean, when fuel's $3.80 a gallon, you know, road fuel, you know, we look at that as, you know, it's a huge expense for us, and if we can cut 30 miles round trip off a whole lot of grain to load of grain to town, you know, it adds up. And time, you know, that's a factor too. So that's something we look at, you know, all of our grain goes to Kansas City, the soybeans, the corn, and we don't, you know, I live just a mile north of here, and it's a pretty high hill there, but I can see downtown Kansas City from my house. So we're not that far from there. And, you know, it's a good market for us. We do get a small premium for raising the waxy corn, because a lot of farmers don't want to. You got to, you know, that's one thing about having, if you raise waxy corn and conventional corn, you got to keep it separate in the bins. Right. You almost got to have your own storage facilities, and so. Which you guys do. Right, yes, and so we got to keep the corn separate, you know. So it's a little bit of a hassle at times, and but at the same time, we as being as close to National Starch as we are, and with that small premium we're getting, it's pretty attractive for us here.
Ted, thanks for your time. Thanks for allowing us to come out and visit with you.
Come back anytime.
We will.
Get ready for the Kicker Country Stampede presented by Verizon Wireless, starring Jason Aldean, Race Atkins. 4 days of camping and country music at Country Stampede, Little Big Town. The Pistol Annies featuring Ashley Monroe, Miranda Lambert, and Angelina Presley. Country Stampede. Take advantage of our current pricing. Use Easy Pay to split up your payments. Save money through April 30th with early bird pricing. More info at countrystampede.com.
Dr. Dan here. Whether I'm driving up and down the roads covering the state of Kansas, or I'm getting between Riley and Manhattan for my job, I'm driving a Ford truck. I'd like you to come out and visit my friends here at Dick Edwards Ford. They have a truck that'll suit your needs, whether you're looking for power with a Power Stroke diesel, or if you're looking for fuel efficiency with the new EcoBoost engine, they got a truck that's just right for you. They're located 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall in Manhattan, Kansas, and they'll bend over backwards to help you. And I'll see you down the road.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here, now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Golf Week calls it the best course you can play in Kansas. But once you play, you'll want to stay. Go for it. Firekeeper Golf Course at Prairie Band Casino and Resort is just north of Topeka off Highway 75. Our stay and play package is worth the trip. Luxury hotel room, green fees, and golf cart for 2, starting at just $169.
Prairie Band Casino and Resort. Go for it!
The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine is a leader in food animal research and education. Our researchers are constantly expanding the knowledge of animal health and food safety. Through the Veterinary Health Center and the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, we provide practical services for animal producers. Home of the Beef Cattle Institute, the college is committed to animal welfare training and research. The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine, knowledge and service for the future of animal production.
This segment is brought to you by Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, dressing Northeast Kansas their Western best for almost 60 years.
Hello and welcome to Horsin' Around. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins here at Kansas State Veterinary School Animal Health Center, and I would just like to welcome Dr. Lori Beard. She's our internal medicine specialist here at the vet school for equine. And it's kind of the time of year where maybe hay quality could be getting a little bit iffy. And we've had a lot of questions about just trying to buy hay and collect it. And so quality of the hay is important for our horses, and what to feed them and what to look for as far as abnormalities of the hay and what it could do for them. So what would an owner look for as far as good hay quality, and maybe what kind of things could happen to the horse if they have bad or poor hay?
Yeah, so really great questions. I mean, obviously you want to make the hay, sure the hay, you know, is the brighter, the greener, the better. The next thing to pay attention to is, you know, what does the hay look like as far as, does it have any mold on it? Is it really dusty hay? Because those would be a big issue, because moldy and dusty hay can be a big instigator of respiratory disease in some horses. They can have a problem to that. So that's something really important to pay attention to.
And so with that deal of moldy and dusty type hay, you know, some owners, maybe they're kind of new to the whole situation of hay itself. What can they do to evaluate that hay just as an owner? Maybe they need more help looking at it, but what can they kind of look at?
Well, you can certainly look at the hay. I mean, mold's usually pretty obvious. It's a gray to a black color. You may actually have to break the bale apart because it may not be apparent on the outside. The other thing, as they're breaking the bale apart, just paying attention to, as you break that bale apart, is there a lot of dust that flies up? The other thing, at least for me, is actually smelling the hay. Usually hay should be pretty sweet smelling or fresh. If you get your nose in it and you can smell that musty or dusty kind of odor to it, would probably be indication that the hay could be a problem to some horses.
That's great. And you know, and I think one of the other things is if they ever have questions, they can either take it to their veterinarian, or some kind of an extension agent could evaluate that hay too for them as they go. You said something about a kind of an allergic reaction or potentially some coughing. What, I guess, could a horse get to if they continue to eat kind of that moldy hay that the owner would be looking for as far as for their horse?
Yeah, so the disease that we see most frequently associated with moldy hay is something called HEAVS, or recurrent airway obstruction. And the clinical signs can range quite dramatically, but dry cough would be the biggest thing. Exercise intolerant, if you're riding that animal, you might know about it. Nostril flaring. You might look at that animal, and that animal has a real difficult time even breathing at rest would be the big thing. Okay. And if they would notice that, they'd obviously call their veterinarian. Is it an emergency situation, or is it something that they could kind of potentially treat on those deals? Really great questions. It depends on the severity of the clinical signs. A veterinarian probably does need to examine that animal, because the other big differential will be something like pneumonia. So does the animal have a fever? What do the mucous membranes look like? Usually with HEAVS, horses should be eating. A horse that's not eating or working so hard to breathe, that would be indication you need to have somebody out earlier. And a veterinarian might be able to give medications to take care of that inflammation, but there are other things that the owner is going to need to do to take care of that animal.
That's great. That's really great. Well, I think you know, what we'll do next is talk about maybe some other differentials or other things that can happen with hay, or the use of hay over a course of time when we come back from the break. But these are great information about the horse, and just looking for dust and mold and the quality of the hay and what could affect the horse. Thank you for joining us here at Horsing Around, and we'll be back after the break.
I'm Dennis Tebow. My wife and I, Kathy, are the owners of Wolf Creek Cattle Company. We have grown to approximately 70 bulls.
I'm Reese Arnold. I'm the livestock manager at Wolf Creek Cattle Company. You know, these are not just like normal cattle. These cattle, they're hauled anywhere from, 8 to 10 hours a day across the United States and asked to perform. The Multi-Man 90 keeps them kind of level. It maintains and balances their system. The stress level's less when, when everything's right and working right, then they're working right.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
Purple Wave is a proud supporter of the Kansas FFA through the Bid for Blue program. Purple Wave donates a portion of the proceeds earned on certain ag assets to the Kansas FFA. Winning bidders can designate a Kansas chapter to receive the donation. To date, Purple Wave is proud to have donated over $10,000. Visit purplewave.com to learn more and to place bids on Bid for Blue assets. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
This segment is brought to you by Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, dressing Northeast Kansas their Western best for almost 60 years.
Hello and welcome back to Horsing Around. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins here at Kansas State Veterinary School Animal Health Center, and I just wanted to again thank Dr. Lori Beard. She's our internal medicine specialist here in the equine department at the vet school, joining us and talking about hay and hay quality and things that can happen with hay or moldy hay. The other thing that sometimes owners ask about, I think, is not necessarily they see a lot of dust or mold, but they just want to know, they're going to maybe feed their hay. They don't have pasture or something, and they're going to feed hay even through the summer. What things should they be looking for or watching in them situations?
Yeah. So vitamin E is normally found in green grass, and so horses that don't have access to pasture are potentially at risk for vitamin E deficiencies. Now, hay will have some vitamin E in it, but it's gonna vary. Certainly, you can just probably look at the hay and gauge some aspect. Does that hay have enough vitamin E or not? Horses should be receiving about 1,000 to 2,000 international units of vitamin E a day. So a lot of horse owners, in addition to feeding hay, are feeding something else. So you can certainly look at that, whatever you're feeding, supplement or grain, and find out how much vitamin E is there. Will that protect the horse or help that horse?
What if a horse becomes deficient in vitamin E? What signs would they see maybe in their horse that might warrant more investigation?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So one of the things vitamin E is really important to, it's an antioxidant. And one of the diseases that we see with low vitamin E concentrations, and these are horses that are usually not in pasture, is something called equine motor neuron disease or Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh, yeah.
So usually those horses are going to present for muscle atrophy, or what the owner might say is weight loss, weakness, so also decreased performance, those sort of things. Sometimes we have some horses actually that are recumbent for a period of time as well.
Wow. And so obviously they would get their veterinarian involved in those situations. What would need to be done potentially initially if a horse was down, I guess, in a severe situation? What would they be potentially looking at as far as what the veterinarian might be doing, or what could they do to prevent their other horses from having those situations?
So as far as treating those animals, we do put them usually on very high concentrations of vitamin E, and we do some diagnostics to make sure we're on the right step. We actually measure vitamin E concentrations in that horse.
Okay.
But if we have identified that horse to have a vitamin E deficiency and disease from it, then certainly the other horses are also at risk. And so ideally, again, you'd like to get them out to pasture. Other thing they could do is they could measure vitamin E concentrations in their horses and supplement the ones that are low. Certainly there are supplements that just have vitamin E in them. And there is some differences between natural and synthetic vitamin E, which becomes important for treating maybe that horse with that problem.
Okay, that's probably a really good point. So when you say those things about the supplementation and natural and those things, because some owner might just go to Walmart or something and say, there's vitamin D everywhere. And so there is a certain vitamin E, if that would need, that the veterinarian would need to help with.
In horses, again, with the disease, I think in general, probably, is it natural versus synthetic, probably less important. You just need to make sure, are you providing at least some vitamin E in the supplements that you're feeding in addition to the hay? And I guess if you're particularly worried, certainly you could have vitamin E measured in your horse and find out, do you need a supplement or not? There's probably some differences in horses' ability to absorb vitamin E from other horses.
That is really great. So thank you, Dr. Beard, for all the good information on hay and hay quality. Thanks for joining us here in Horsing Around, and we're here at the vet school. If you guys ever need to get a hold of us, you can sure give us a call or go on the website at www.vet.ksu.edu. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins, and we'll see you around.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
We'll have plenty more for you tomorrow here on Ag AM in Kansas. We're here every weekday, same time, same station. Or look for us on the web at agaminkansas.com. Eric Atkinson here for K-State Research and Extension.